if ever, for YJY. But now, while we're waiting for the game to load up, we're just yeah. Actually, the game is ready and loaded up, so let's just get into it, everybody.
Yeah, so it is going to be Skambalow versus West Point here. And it does seem like, yeah, YJY is going to go for the cleanse, which introduces a bit of a mind game here between Ayman and YJY. Like, usually you'll go Zenith Blade straight into Shield of Daybreak, right? That's like the rotation. But YJY, or rather Ayman, can actually try and bait out the cleanse with the Zenith Blade and then delay the Shield of Daybreak so he uses it after the cleanse comes through. So that is something that's possible for YJY. Or for Ayman rather, and let's see if that actually comes into play here between these two bot laners. But we've loaded onto the game here, very excited. No big invades, just guarding the entrances of their jungle with vision, and it's gonna be very exciting.
Yeah, this is yeah. I remember Dawn being one of a great bot laner. So against YJY, who is now one of the best also. So it's a battle between bot laners and even the jungles. Revelate has a lot of showing so far during the past community tournament that we've seen hide on. Revelate has been really great with most of these champions, even with the Trundle in the jungle.
Yeah, Trundle in the jungle right there. Could be seen. We could see that later in the game. Like, let's say Sun Jiao gets banned. Let's say the Olaf. I think the Olaf might not be bannable unless Azure really pops off here. But we might see that later. But coming into this West Point, already contesting the level 1 very, very hard here to get that early level 2. Prevent the Leona. That's always the game plan, right? If you can contest the level 1, especially if you're a range support that can poke, like Lulu, you definitely want to deny them a level 2 engage there. And West Point Esports pretty much wins the first 3 minutes of this game for this lane.
Yeah, this is what we were explaining a while ago, Hydro Knight. Whenever it comes down to the bot lane, you're all gonna be fighting with range. And that's why I said Caitlyn is very viable in the bot lane because everyone is just gonna be farming anyway. So Jinx and Jinx versus Aphelios is a matchup in where YJY has the advantage because at first he has the Caliber. That's why he can use the range in his favor.
For now though, now that Ayman and Dawn have kind of recovered their HP, used up their potions, this is pretty much, and now that they're actually level 2, now it's the part where they can start walking up. Yeah, now that 3 minutes have gone, Cresho pretty much, all this did pretty much was for Cresho and YJY not to die within the first 3 minutes. That's already a win in their book here, just because they won that level 2 race. And now here, Dawn and Ayman can actually start moving up and trying in Azra. He's gonna get detected by the ward here. He's gonna just straight up clear that. But this does signal to West Point that, okay, maybe we can't go for something here. Gonna go straight for the 3-talent strike here, but Ayman skips for the Zenith Blade. That's gonna be the first blood going to Azra. And now, on the run here, it's gonna be Crasher. He's gonna get taken down as well. YJY has to dodge it. That's going to be the mark not hitting onto Azra just yet. And that's gonna be 2 kills straight up for Skambalow.
Yeah, this is what we were saying about Skambalow picking up the Olaf because he's the only one who can fight against the Xin Zhao perfectly, and that is what they did there. Undertow, there's a lot of damage to go through for Azra, and they just capitalized on it, and they made it sure that they're gonna get the advantage. It's also because they went in for the Leona. Leona at this point in the game has a lot of damage reduction, and you're not gonna be killing her at this point, and that's why they won that fight.
Yeah, there's a few factors in play there. One, West Point. Of course, Revelate was 1 level behind Azra. That's just the nature of the clear speed of the Olaf. And 2, I think Revelate felt that he was forced to go into it. Since, okay, Azra's already here. My laners kind of seem like they're in position to go to follow up if I go in. But yeah, nice play there for Ayman. I was like, okay, the fight's starting. I'm just going straight to the backline. And that messes up their formation. That forces them to make unoptimal movements. And there, Skambalow gets the first 2 kills. Very good. That's really what I'm looking for here from Skambalow's comp, is to get that early gold and be able to snowball from there with the Olaf and the Leona.
Yeah, and especially that, and with that now, we can say that bot lane is already on the bigger advantage here for Dawn and also for Ayman because right now, they can make use of that advantage that they got there in order for them to get more kills. Getting the Zenith Blade onto the stun would probably get the kill on one because at this point, we all know that Enchanters scaled well into the late game. That's why it's not yet at this point in where the shields are going to be a big threat.
For sure. Now, yeah. And right now, West Point has to, like, think, okay, Bot lane's perma shoving against our lane. Like, unless he has Infernum, unless YJY has Infernum, it's really not going to be a lane where he can push back against the rockets of Dawn here. So Revelate has to think, okay, do I risk another gank on this extended bot lane, or do I just go, okay, let's try and see if we can enable Parzival or Calumnia instead of this bot lane? Because right now this Leona could potentially get out of control the more West Point tries to challenge this. And Azra knows this, so he's constantly looking bot lane here and has the control over the Drake because they have priority.
Now with that said, they can go for the Drake because they called for it, and why West Point Esports is now backing away. That's the reason why YJY is trying to push up in lane, because they know that they're taking the dragon anyway, and it's gonna be pretty fast because Azra with the Olaf, especially with getting kills a while ago, would just make it sure that the wave clear here for the Infernal Drake will be easy.
And so far, for Skambalow as well, they could try and go for a force gank onto Marriage, but with the mobility of the Ribbon, it's going to be very, very difficult. Has to spend everything. Audacious Charge, doesn't need to use the flash, actually forces the flash there because Revelate threatened with Audacious Charge. This does still a successful gank. It gets him space, it gets him platings, even without the kill. That's good enough to try and close that gold gap, and it's actually only 600 right now, which is just equivalent to the first blood plus another kill.
Yeah. What's good about this on the side of West Point Esports is because Parzival has TP and Merej only has Ignite, he's losing a lot of CS. But looking at the junglers right now, it's a good thing that Azra is keeping up this pace. He's keeping a constant pressure, taking all the clusters that he can, get the vision, so that Revelate would just choke out in his jungle. And after that gank in the bot lane, it was just his pacing has been disrupted. And that's why Skambalow is just making use of that.
Yeah, the biggest thing also is that the double buffs were also carried over or sent over to Skambalow's side when Revelate tried to go for a forced response gank when Azra stopped by bot lane. So that let Azra pretty much just clear even more. He's pretty much a level and a half ahead of Revelate at this point because nakita natin si Azra level 6 na siya. Probably like 1/3 through level 6, and Revelate was only just gotten onto level 5. So they've pretty much cut down the biggest threat in the early game, which is the Xin Zhao, and Skambalow is in a pretty good position for the next 5 minutes or so, just because they don't have to worry too much about the Xin Zhao.
Yeah, this is what we were talking about a while ago. They're both early game junglers, and if ever whoever gets the first advantage there, it would be better for them. They could set the face for their team and make sure that they're gonna be giving they're going to be putting the eggs in the right basket. And having the investment here, you don't really need to invest a lot in the top lane. Both of them are self-sustaining. It's a good thing that they did in the bot lane. So now Dawn is in a pretty good position.
And that's really what you just have to do. You have to set up your hypercare. Of course, he's been keeping in pace in terms of the farm here. YJY not missing a beat in terms of the CS as well. But Skambalow they've pretty much given Skambalow free reign over these neutral objectives. The Rift Herald gonna get taken for sure. This is probably this might actually be taken bot side, all the way bot side here as well. Or actually no, with Ayman being top side as well, this is gonna be a forced 3v1, 3v2 onto the top lane, possibly summoning the Rift Herald just there. Parzival needs to recognize this as soon as possible after seeing Ayman being away, plus the Rift Herald being taken. So yes, they will just have to give this few of the platings here, unless they don't want to pull the trigger on the Rift Herald.
Yeah, it's a good thing that Xin Zhao is also here. Revelate is waiting for the gank here. That's why they're pushing back. He might be able to get the gank here onto Dawn, so he needs to take a look at this. But now he has been seen.
And pretty much though, they're actually going for the dive straight up. That's gonna be the wild growth just to force something out of Dawn. Forces out the heal. Doesn't burn anything other than an ulti here from West Point Esports, so they are just going to try and raise the turret. For now, I do think the Skambalow's in a better position, especially with Azra transitioning over to the mid lane. There's always the threat of the Rift Herald. Even though Azra's not pulling it out right now, West Point has to worry about that Rift Herald being pulled out on one of these lanes, top or mid.
Yeah, and I like that. I like that they're seeing that that advantage, and Skambalow is just using it in their favor. And right now, they're waiting for the chance to start off with a very explosive one, though. So the next objective is going to come in with this next Drake that's going to come out. It's just that Skambalow needs to find a way to use this again in their favor. If this is just gonna be a stat Drake, oh, okay, it is gonna be. It's an Ocean Drake, and it's gonna be good for West Point Esports. Skambalow needs to deny this one.
Pretty sure. And this is going to be another thing that's crucial, right? Like the looking at the items, the gold lead isn't that big. It's 1.2k at 10 minutes. But looking at it, the most important thing here is that Azra has his mythic and Revelate doesn't. Between Parzival and Marriage is much closer to his own mythic because Parzival has to go for the plated steel caps there, and that's actually going to be a very big factor coming in. Calumnia, of course, going for the Manamune here, does have a completed item before Seanmaker, but when it comes to the first Drake here, it's definitely going to be Skambalow possibly ahead, but yeah, going for the Rift Herald summon here means that they are going to try and pressure West Point Esports, but they are going to be the ones to start this Drake here. Looks like Skambalow is willing to give this Drake up to go for a push on a lane here with the Rift Herald.
Ooh, yeah, they went in for that. They might be able to push in the mid lane. The Rift Herald is going to come in. And that is really great. They were able to get some of the platings for themselves, so at least let Seanmaker gain some advantage in the mid lane. But because this is really the way that it's gonna go. Top lane, look at that, they're fighting.
Oh, this could be Azra going for a gank here. Parzival, he doesn't have his needlework anymore, so he has to stand and fight because there's no way he's escaping this. Maybe he can try and go for a 2v1, but with that knockup coming in from the Blade of the Exile plus the Wind Slash, that's going to be an easy kill here for Marriage. A little bit of an overextension there from Parzival. Once again, like I said, the only time Parzival is going to get ganked up is if he overextends, trying to stay overconfident against Marriage, and then he gets punished for it. Skambalow slowly building up a lead. They might lose the first turret of the game here, but it is gonna get answered back by Skambalow by the kill by Skambalow topside.
Okay, that is a great. They were able to take the kill, but right now slowly West Point Esports is building their territory here, taking down the towers that they can, and building all the rapport here with all the minions that they can have. But look at the advantage here that Azra just built for himself. Look at that Revelate. He can't
full
even
clearing
play
every
around his
time.
own bang jungle, right? So that's why right now he's level 7, Azra is level 9. Azra has been playing this so well, and that's why West Point Esports can't even contest any objectives. But they were able to a while ago, though.
Yeah, they were able to take out because Skambalow basically made a judgment call na okay, okay tayo na ibigay yung Ocean Drake. Kasi feeling, I think Skambalow feels like they can finish the game before the Ocean Drake is ever relevant, right? They decided, okay, instead of going for the Ocean Drake, possibly losing a fight, because even though they're ahead in items, Dawn didn't have his Kraken Slayer when that Drake appeared. So perhaps a judgment call, okay, let's let them take the Ocean Drake, let's get some plates in these lanes and extend our gold lead a little bit and play around that instead of trying to go for a long-term investment with the Drake.
Azra is having, Revelate is having a hard time here finding success with his ganks. And Skambalow, they're just happy for it. They're all up for it, that they're getting all these things that they need. But it's slowly going to the hands of Skambalow. Look at this Parzival super low in HP.
Yeah, pretty much gives up a little bit of the lane. Of course, no place here for Marriage because they just fell off. And good awareness from Marriage here not to overextend too much, even though I don't think Calumnia would have been able to solo kill him here. It's still good that he is able to back off and stay safe. They don't have enough intel on where the rest of West Point might be until Revelate showed himself mid lane to relieve some pressure off of Parzival. So we're going to have to see how that plays out, because I feel like Skambalow topside, they want to make something happen there, especially when the next Herald pops. They can go there, go for a four-man onto the top side with Seanmaker, and that is going to be very rough here for West Point if their top lane is opened up, leaves their mid lane a lot more vulnerable.
Yeah, and having that, West Point Esports need to find a way to turn things around in their favor, but it's not a lot of options. Whenever an Olaf is really ahead, he's just going to be ahead for a long time. Later on in the mid game, yes, he's going to pull up, but would that be the right timing to fight back? Because maybe at that point, Seanmaker and Dawn are already fed at, to a T, and where they got their second items already, and where West Point Esports would have a hard time to come back already. So need to pass enough before Skambalow just gets more and more advantages.
Yeah, Cresho. I don't think we're gonna see a miracle Glitter Lance here, but this does indicate that West Point is right around the corner. Delays the Rift Herald a little bit, but I don't think it's gonna get contested at all. West Point just isn't in a good position to try and contest that. They give it up, and Skambalow has another ticket for some plates. Oh no, sorry, not some plates. Some possibly a turret, a full turret take here in the mid lane. If that Rift Herald touches that mid lane turret, it's gone. So they can use this to leverage when the Drake spawns.
Yeah, well, West Point, they aren't having the greatest time. Maybe after this reset that they could have, they can get some items for most of their carries before they go on for the battle, for the war, especially on this next Drake that is coming out. So they're waiting for it, and Skambalow, yeah, they're up and ready. And after that second rotation, look at this. Azra is almost on his second item. And that's a scary Olaf at this point.
And here, Calumnia, he is able to... He's probably going to get some damage on the stop turret. Mare's going to stop that. Mare actually goes for the fight straight up. Look at those animation cancels. Calumnia trying his best to flash over the Wind Slash, but it's not enough to deal with the damage from Marriage's other broken plays. That's going to be a kill here for Skambalow. Another one in the bag here. And the Drake is going to be spawning here. Parzival caught in a rock and a hard place. Gets denied by the Emperor's Divide here. Can they finish off the kill? For sure. Azra's just going to dive this straight up. There's no way. And then picks up the kill right there. This pretty much secures the Drake for Skambalow. And West Point is not even in a position to contest it. And Parzival having a rough time. 0-3 right now. Being forced into the plated steel caps means that his Mythic's delayed. His Riftmaker's delayed by like 650 gold.
Yeah, there's not a lot of things to say on this replay, because honestly, that was just Azra just making use of his advantage and Parzival just overstepping his bounds. They thought that they might be able to contest the Drake, but because they overstepped, they lost 2 members. Even the top lane, Calumnia wasn't even able to get anything out of that, and he just get the kill on the Verge. And
there was no hesitation.
Working really well for Skambalow, and I like that. I like that they're playing this well, and they can use this advantage, at least let Maker and Dawn to scale later on in the game. But what they're missing, though,
for sure,
I think we're getting YJY. Because YJY is slowly building up on those items.
Yeah, pretty much he's been farming. He's a little bit behind the fabled 10 CS per minute, but right now he's still at a very, very good spot pretty much, and he should be able to scale up. But the thing is, will he scale up fast enough that Azra, he's gonna be, because for sure Azra's gonna run him down, right? He's gonna dog him down. That's already a given. And at this point, if Azra gets more kills, maybe Cresho's enchantment won't be enough, you know? It won't be enough. Oh, it's gonna be a Solar Flare onto Cresho. Nice. That's gonna be YJY preventing them from coming in by the mark with a Gravitum. So that is just going to be one ultimate spent from Skambalow.
Yeah, I really like that they use the ultimate there just to push him back out of the lane, because they have other plans. They want to shove this lane, get the tower for themselves, get the tower pressure, but later on, this Rift Herald can be thrown down. Yeah.
It's a pretty late Rift Herald here, but this is pretty much the best time that they can get it. This is pretty much like a 16-minute Rift Herald running it down 18 to 19 minutes, but they are making good use of it because they are just going to come crashing down onto this turret. Maybe Skambalow can't force anything just yet. Undertow, big damage here. They're going to be backing off. They have some territory in place because of the Azir turret, and West Point cannot respond.
Wasn't even able to answer with anything though, but at least the tower is alive. Skambalow now has the pressure that they need. They are really marking their territory here. Azra is just making good use of this. He has a lot of... He has 2 items already, and that's really big for an Olaf at this point. We're just 19 minutes into the game, and he built up this reputation that his pressure in the map is just really big.
For the most part, yeah. And at this point, it's very difficult for West Point to actually make these cross-map plays because Skambalow is actually very fast on the uptake here. When they go for the rotate, they do it without hesitation. And so far, West Point just hasn't been able to keep up. They haven't even gotten a single kill in this game. They possibly could if they actually contested anything, but they're deciding, okay, it's not our spike just yet. Let's just have YJY and Calumnia build themselves up slowly but surely, and then later we can try and go for that actual fight. Because kanina 3k gold lead, diba? Now it's a 4k gold lead. But the longer that the game goes, the smaller, in theory, a 3k gold lead, if you maintain that for the whole game, it becomes less and less relevant. So that could be the play here for West Point, but they're giving up a lot. They're giving up their turret, they're giving up map control, they're giving up objectives. And when the next Drake spawns, that could be a breaking point where West Point cannot keep up anymore if Skambalow gets another big lead.
Yeah, and that's why it's very important for them to get something here. West Point Esports, 4K gold lead. The gold gap is just getting bigger and bigger because Skambalow is just taking a lot of their objectives down, and even their turrets are just falling down every time. And that's just because of one mistake, right? The only mistake that they had was the bot lane fight that they did a while ago, and because of that, Skambalow was able to make use of it until now. And that is just how punishing this early game junglers are.
Yeah. The silver lining here is because West Point has pretty good wave clear. They've actually only lost 2 turrets. I mean, the mid lane inner and the bot lane outer are so close to just being demolished, but they've held on for this long despite being on the back foot because of, let's say, Calumnia's wave clear, Parzival and YJY as well having pretty decent wave clear depending on YJY's gun. So they haven't been suffering the consequences of being behind just yet. They just need to maintain this, at most, this 4k gold deficit, maybe even it out if they can, but ideally they just fight when Calumnia and YJY are online. Even though Dawn and Seanmaker are still very, very powerful late game, the playing field will be much more even later if they don't lose more gold against Skambalow.
Yeah. So basically, Skambalow needs to fasten this up also, right? They need to get more towers. They need to get their advantages bigger because we all know how this late game composition is going to work for both of them. They're just waiting for that second item.
Oh,
Iman
no.
is already here. The good
Yeah,
positioning,
Iman's in
though.
a pretty good position here. Nice Empress Divide there. This does still allow Calumnia and Parzival to go for some pot shots, but Revelate is out of the picture, and that means that Drake is most likely going to Skambalow. But West Point, will they fight back? No. That's going to be the Sand Soldiers keeping them away here. Cresho walking up here, they don't have a lot of vision, but they are poking with Calumnia. If they can get a steal, no, it is going to get secured by Azra, and immediately they are out. They don't want to engage with West Point. They just want to keep building up their Drakes. And West Point, oh man, they're not finding the fights that they want, and they keep getting outmaneuvered by Skambalow. Like their Revelate was like, okay, I'll wait here, maybe get a gap on someone, but Iman already circled all the way around and just pincered them at that point.
Yeah, I really like the way that Skambalow is playing, though. They're playing around all of these objectives whenever they can, and whenever they get the chance, play around the vision, use it against them, use their weakest link against them. And that, at this point, it's Revelate, because Revelate wasn't even able to do anything at the early stages of the game, and we all know how Shinzao is. Early game to mid game, if he doesn't get any value, he's just gonna be a disengaged potential for the team and nothing more. And that's what they're using for right here. They don't have even any smite if ever he falls down.
Yeah, it's pretty much a Lee Sin situation, right? A lot of times, Lee Sin, a very early game position champion, if you deny him early in the jungle, then it's very hard for him to be relevant outside of his ultimate. So, very good job here by Skambalow to make sure that Revelate doesn't really pop off here, and that's gotta be props to Azra and the rest of Skambalow. They know, okay, Revelate's gonna come in here, let's try and deny him, let's stop his momentum as a Shinjao here and now, and pretty much just get that lead. And now they're slowly ballooning this lead. Earlier it was 4k, and right now it's not that, it's like 4.5k, but the point is that it's slowly growing here for Skambalow.
Yeah, and it's looking really bad for West Point Esports that they're just letting them take the lead here. I mean, they have nothing to do anyway. They can't really fight against them at this point in the game because at this point, Riven and Olaf are just going to be getting a lot of CC against them. And also, I forgot to point out, West Point Esports doesn't have CC. The only thing that they have is a slow and also a knockout from Cresho, and that's also the reason why they're having a hard time making use of the Shinzao and Gwen. Because they can't get in. They can stay the constant DPS to anyone.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I was wondering, like I said, both of these teams don't really have big front lines. But the thing is, because Skambalow is building up this lead, this allows Azra to just buy enough stats that he can be that front line and still deal a massive amount of damage. The same thing with Iman. Usually I'd say, okay, support tanks don't actually have enough gold to tank, but here he's had pretty decent kill participation. He's built up a lot of gold. He's got the locket and the plated steel caps. That's already big because against the damage of West Point Esports. Here, gonna try and go for a fight here. Iman taking a lot of damage. Columbia poking up very, very hard. Zap coming through. The misses on the Columbia. Good Flame Chompers to deny, but in comes Parzival trying to get those kills there. Just a few more autos, unable to get it. Will they be positioned enough for a Baron if that's what they're going for? This is still very, very risky.
Really?
Azra is already recovered from those minions, and he's actually, they're gonna go for it. Skambalow, they're in a pretty good position to delay against us. They don't have their big ultis, but they still have the ulti from Riven. They still have the ulti from Sean Maker. Sean Maker playing the territories around here. They do give Marriage some space in the mid lane to go for the push, and he will be getting that mid lane inner. Oh no, that's gonna be a Zenith blade here. Immediately on the crash, he goes down. Revelate has to go for the blast cone, but that might kill YJY. No, Azra backs off, does not want to go into uncharted territory. Marriage comes in onto YJY. There's no more mitigation coming in from there, because even though he flashes away, Dawn picks up the kill. Columbia trying to run away here. In comes Marriage from downtown, picks him up. Columbia decides, okay, I'll try and take down X Dawn, but it doesn't happen, and it's a 0 for 4 here in favor of Skambalow. West Point still no kills. They deny the Baron. They get a lot more gold, and 8k is a lot more substantial than 3 and 4.
Ooh, this is what I love to see. Skambalow playing their positions really well, especially with the vision. Teleport doesn't matter, and Mirage is just gonna make use of that in their favor. They might be looking for an angle here and where they get his game.
Oh no, that's the game. That is the game. In a flash, they try to go for the last stand, but it's just not happening. Game 1 goes to Skambalow in a decisive fashion, 10k gold lead, and West Point is left reeling from that attack.
Wow, that is a really good play coming in from Skambalow. They were able to take down West Point Esports out of all of them, and that is just a great scene right here, right now. In the SIBOL2022 national team selection, we've seen West Point Esports lose against Skambalow, against this team who has been solid so far. They haven't thrown during the whole part of the game, and they just